Hey, so I want to give a bit of a background on where I've come from and where I'm at and how I got here. And so during my kind of early 20s, or actually mid to late teens, I got heavily into martial arts for the fitness side, for the mindset side, for the whole kind of holistic side of it. With the something was drawing me to it, like it had all of the physical, the fighting, the defending yourself, and then the healing side of it as well. There's always two sides to it. And what really got me in all these years, like I'd gone through learning a whole ton of stuff, like my black belt in karate, and then which is Japanese martial art, and then I move on to getting an interest in this system or the martial art called Wing Chun. And this martial art called Wing Chun was basically going against everything that pretty much that I was being taught within the karate. What I had to do then was completely forget or empty my cup to not bring forward everything that I learned to do with karate into applying that into Wing Chun. And then I did years and years and years of Wing Chun, realized that actually this was better than the karate. It was from a longevity perspective, from a practical perspective, from the health perspective, from the healing perspective, all of these different things, especially from the self-defense and the fighting perspective. And I thought the system that I was learning was amazing. And then we ended up finding this other organization that was just blew the Wing Chun out of the water and basically had to start again with learning. Now, when I say start again, and this is where most people screw up because of their belief systems and hold themselves back, is what I mean by screw up, and stop yourself from massively taking leaps forwards in your own development, your own abilities in whatever it is that you do. And so many people with the organization that I was with left because they didn't want to start learning again. They didn't want to look at, okay, there is another way that's actually better. And then when I was part of this organization, like I just literally attended everything, all of the seminars, all of the workshops, all of the training sessions that were put on, like classes, private lessons, the lot. I would just like fully immerse myself. 20 years later, I'm one of the top in the UK. There was a few of us in the UK. This part of this organization with a very, very good understanding from this organization of what Wing Chun was and how it works. To then the whole thing fell apart because of politics, like it always does. It's ridiculous. Because people are just, as a generalization, in that sense, we get power hungry and do all of these daft things that actually end up hurting us and everybody else along the way. And ultimately then the students take the biggest brunt of it, just like mum and dad break up and the kids got the worst of it. And it's nuts, absolutely nuts. And what happened was I moved away from it and then started digging deep and searching into what I'd understood about Wing Chun and what I'd been taught. And more I did that, the more and more questions were coming up. I was feeling stuck. I was feeling frustrated. I was just literally spinning around in loops and not knowing or not realizing that what I was actually taught. Now, I'm not saying this is what is happening in the healing world, but what I found out was in the organization I was with is that the actual head of the organization, the few kind of head people that were there and the top kind of students that were there had kept some things back. So they'd given you 3 of the 4 steps that you needed to do. But the goal was, now you can look at it 2 ways, that they did it from a control perspective and wanting to charge people loads more and do all of the negative stuff that everyone talks about. You can also look at it the fact that actually they left that last step for you to put some effort in and figure it out yourself. Now, what I did was I then, after 23 years of doing all of this Wing Chun and going through all of the training, the hours and hours and hours and hours that I put in, I then found someone that said they had this perfectly straight line, or in the sense of knowing what to do, what steps to take, and exactly where, like, what everything was. So I literally emptied my cup and started again. And there was nobody else that I found that would do this. They refused to. They still wanted to hold on to what they had. Now, here's the crux of it, and I would love for you to just let this sink in. I didn't lose what I'd already had. When I say empty my cup, that doesn't mean forget everything that I'd ever been taught. What I mean is I turned up without any preconceived idea of what I thought should be happening or shouldn't be happening, and I refused to try to connect all of the dots with what I believed I already knew. And I went in with a complete blank sheet to start again to understand. Then I went away and I applied. Told me, so I had to put a leap of faith into this. Someone had told me they had a better way. And then when I started to learn the better way and understand the better way, to then incorporate what I knew too, I realized they did have a better way. It was more efficient, it was more effective, and it got you there quicker. And the results were better. And here's what I've done. So I went on then to learn about healing. During this time, I was learning about healing as well, and I continued to learn about my healing, and lo and behold, the same things happened. I just ended up spinning in circles, couldn't figure out why is it that all of these modalities that I studied, all of these certifications I'd got, why is it that some of them would work on most of the people and most of them would work on some of the people, but I couldn't find one that worked on all of the people all of the time. Now, I did find one that actually worked on most of the people, majority of the time. But I'd been shown into train it to get it better, to then once I got it and I understood it, to then find where the similarities were and how I can use what I already knew. So my attitude towards learning something had completely changed, even though for doing it for 23 years, I thought I had it and I thought I knew. But then finding out that actually I didn't. Now, this just blew my students away, because the students that I had when I was in the UK, they were so fiercely loyal to me then because I was willing to start again. They loved the attitude and they followed it as well. They loved the fact that I was willing to not to sacrifice, but to just push aside everything that I thought I knew, so that I can learn something where this is what I'm using as the foundations, which is what my 10-week container is about, where I'm doing the free masterclass on Tuesday. Anybody and everybody to come along and to just pick my brains, question me, call bullshit on what I'm saying, don't believe me, but turn up and actually prove what I'm saying to be wrong, and I will show you how you can prove to yourself whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong, whether it is actually possible or not possible. With this modality, that one still left me questioning stuff. It still kept me spinning. It was okay, so there has to be another way, there has to be an easy way, there has to be something that works on everybody all of the time, and there has to be somewhere that this is actually massively originating from. And there is something multiple places where these things are, and there is something that comes before that actually comes in and is connected to us and is actually then dictates to us, gives this illusion of free will, because it's dictating to who we are going to be, how we're going to process stuff, and the path that we're going to end up taking. And when you find all of this, you can change it. And then when they say you're creating your own reality, yes, this is true. This is definitely true. And there are some people, which I'm sure you're aware of, there are some people out there that just manage to do it just instantly like this. I was not one of those people. Not at all. Multiple coaches I've gone through and tears and tears and tears down the phone and on the call and the video calls with them. What am I doing wrong? Why is it that freaking this person over here just gets it like this and is just able to have success with it and do all of this stuff, and others aren't? And they're doing the same thing. I'm copying exactly what this person is saying, but I'm not getting it. Why not? And there is a path. There is something out there that governs that path. And when you tap into this, now I want to go back a little bit actually before I go on. I'm not saying at all that all of the different healing modalities out there are a crock of shit, okay? What I'm saying, and every healer that is out there, every spiritual entrepreneur out there, everyone else, there are going to be some people that are jumping on the bandwagon, are fantastic at marketing and are raking it in. And some people will love them and some people actually have woken up and realized. I'm very much someone who looks to come from a place of pure truth, and I'm happy to be called on my bullshit or my truth, and tested it as well. No problem, because it helps me to grow. My main goal, growth and truth. What I'm not saying is all of these people that have taught all of these modalities and all of these different healing systems know that there is something else. They're teaching you to the best of their knowledge at the time that they learned the stuff what they had learned and developed the stuff that they had learned. But what I've found is that our consciousness actually becomes the trap, and we go into a higher consciousness of what is going around, and that becomes deeper into the trap, because all we then try to do, and I've found it with so many people when I explain what it is that how I do it and how you can do it and anybody can do it, you start to piece the dots. You're not emptying your cup. You start to look, okay, so that's similar to this, that's similar to this, and then we naturally do this because it helps us to remember stuff and it helps us to learn. We have to consciously push this aside, like everything that we've learned, so that we can take in completely something new. It's like the sponge that's full up is not going to be able to take on more water. Move that sponge aside, bring in another sponge, take everything in through that one, and then squeeze them both into a pot and carry on with your two sponges. So I'm trying to make everything as visual as possible because I really want to get this message out there, and I really want people to, yeah, my posts have been agitational, yeah, I may have got some backs up, but I've got your back up with these posts and with what I'm saying, because you're feeling something is truthful in what it is that I'm saying. You're in that same spot that I'm calling it out, because I was there, and all I'm doing is telling you the truth that I went through. I felt this way. I felt these truths. But the difference is that I wouldn't buy into the idea that it was me that just needed to carry on, that I've got to take, and I'm just going to hold on to that. You got to ask yourself, and I did the same thing. I just kept asking myself, how is that really serving me? How is that really serving the people that I'm working with and that are coming to me to learn or to heal the stuff that they've got going on? How can I actually serve them in the best possible way? How can I get rid of my own crap? How is it that I'm able to justify to myself that I'm able to charge whatever it is that I'm charging to somebody when I've got a ton of my own crap that I still not managed to figure out why it keeps coming back? It's like, I'm not saying this to flood you with guilt, but that's what I was feeling. That's everything that was coming up for me when I was going through all of this stuff, when I was constantly smashing my head against the wall. Like, why is it that these people are saying this is healing for them, but it's not for me? Same path. It's like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Like, I questioned it, and there's two aspects of my system that I teach, and to anyone that wants to learn it, and anybody that is having a healing work done on them, I will say to them, look, don't assume anything and question everything, including me. And I'm fine with that. Like, question everything he's saying, and I'll show you how you can get to the truth without any influence, without anything that is interfering with it, that is hovering over the truth to try to massage our ego, because that's all it's really doing. Because we've got a certificate and we've got a piece of paper, we've gone through hours of training, we've spent a fortune on it, we've devoted our life to it. Surely, like, that's that I've got to take, and I'm just going to hold on to that. You got to ask yourself, and I did the same thing. I just kept asking myself, how is that really serving me? How is that really serving the people that I'm working with and that are coming to me to learn or to heal the stuff that they've got going on? How can I actually serve them in the best possible way? How can I get rid of my own crap? How is it that I'm able to justify to myself that I'm able to charge whatever it is that I'm charging to somebody when I've got a ton of my own crap that I still not managed to figure out why it keeps coming back? It's like, I'm not saying this to flood you with guilt, but that's what I was feeling. That's everything that was coming up for me when I was going through all of this stuff, when I was constantly smashing my head against the wall. Like, why is it that this is healing? These people are saying this is healing for them, but it's not for me. Like, and then you start like, well, I'm doing something wrong. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just never destined to heal. And you start then creating stuff that doesn't serve you at all. And this is why it's important that I want to get this out there. And I'm doing this masterclass on Tuesday so that I can share this all with everybody. And then this, yes, I'm going to be speaking to you about a 10-week container that I'm putting on, which will follow on from that, where we'll go through those fundamentals, this fundamental system or modality that I've found, which is what William Whitecloud is using, which is what I think is Chris or Craig Duncan or someone like that, which Gary Flint put together, which Colette's someone that does the MAP Institute, which is all of these people. There's a few of them out there that got this one system, this one modality that I've found that works with most people most of the time. But I wanted you to get like is to understand is that emptying our cup isn't something we just say we want to do. It literally is where you want to move everything that you know, not throw it away, just move everything you know to one side, and then go in with the attitude that you know nothing and you're here ultimately to just learn as much as you can about this new thing. When you do that, you can then fully understand, you can fully engross into this new thing, and then you can start bringing in the other stuff. then you can start putting together all of what you already know into this other way. And you are freaking, I hope, like I've got one client who I'm working with and doing this stuff with that's got so many freaking certifications. Just like there's more certifications that I even, when she gets what I'm saying and when she gets my system and this modality, like, and then implements it into everything she knows, she's going to blow me out of the water. And that's my goal. Like, the student should become the master, so to speak. And this was always my goal with the Wing Chun side of things as well. I would push myself to better myself every day. But my goal is to help someone else to just so that I can then say, like, what was that you did? Show me. So you're keeping this attitude towards being open to learn from everybody and anybody that actually is saying something that may be of help to you in some way. And it's absolutely crucial for, in my opinion, for my development to have that attitude. Now, you don't have to. Okay, and there is no like actual evidence, and this modality, like and it implements it into everything she knows, she's going to blow me out of the water. And that's my goal. Like, the student should become the master, so to speak. And this was always my goal with the Wing Chun side of things as well. I would push myself to better myself every day. But my goal is to help someone else to just so that I can then say, like, what was that you did? Show me. So you're keeping this attitude towards being open to learn from everybody and anybody that actually is saying something that may be of help to you in some way. And it's absolutely crucial for, in my opinion, for my development to have that attitude. Now, you don't have to, okay, and there is no like actual evidence I'm saying. There is no science behind what I'm saying. But from what I've understood, there was nothing with Joe Dispenza, who did all of this stuff as well. And look where he's at now with what he's doing. I've not done the research like he's done. All I can say is that the proof is coming from the crazy results and the speed at which I'm getting the results I'm getting for the people that I'm working with. Okay. And they're not having to do anything. They're not having to consciously sit there, do the journaling, do the affirmations, do all of the meditation for God knows how many hours to try and get it. They're not having to go through tons and tons of hours of trying to consciously catch old patterns and look at this as a learn and what is it that they're learning from it. It just takes too damn long. There is another way, and it just fits in because the operating system that is running everything, and this has got nothing to do with the subconscious, which is like the instant go-to that everybody tries to make the connection. It's got nothing to do with that. I'm using like all of this crazy amount of affirmations to then try and over a period of 4 to 6 weeks reprogram your subconscious, because all that's actually doing is reprogramming 10% of what we call the subconscious, which is the wrong name for it in the first place as well. They're reprogramming that 10% that was created during their childhood. That's all you're doing with those, with that side of it. And it takes weeks and weeks and hours and hours and hours to be able to continue to do it. What I'm finding is that everything that I'm doing is showing massive results at an insane speed that I didn't think was possible with the clients that I'm working with. That's it. That's where my evidence is. That's where my science is. And that's where the proof is. And ultimately, what does our clients really want? Do they really want the long drawn out freaking path that means they've got to go through absolutely a ton of shit? Or do they just ultimately want the result? Ultimately, like, and this is the same, like I had this when I was going through kind of weight loss and boot camp classes with women. They would say to me, they're coming in, I want to lose weight. And I say to them, so ultimately, what's the goal? Like, and they would turn around and say to me, I want to lose weight. And I said, well, for what reason? And their reason was because they wanted to fit into a certain dress size. And I said to them, so ultimately then, is the result that you're looking for to fit in to this size 10 dress, or of what it was in the UK? And their answer was yes. And I said to them, so what if what you weigh now is the same as what you weigh, you can fit into a size 10 dress, would you be bothered? And the answer was no. Every single 100% of the time they would say no. They didn't care what weight they were, they actually cared about the inch loss. So the result was them being able to fit into a size 10 jean or dress or whatever it was, so they felt good. So they were looking for the inch loss. not the weight loss which we'd been programmed into believing is what we need. And every single client that I've ever worked with, they don't care about the process. They don't care about the stuff that's involved. They'll care of snippets of it, but they don't care about all the bits involved. Ultimately, when I ask them, what do you want? They want to know that they're going to get this result, and they want to get it as quickly as they can. And that's it. There are some that will have this idea that they want to know everything that's going on. But this, as I explained to them, by doing that, what you're doing is you're giving energy to it. And you're giving energy to all of the stuff that we're clearing. And we clear it all, we talk about it all, and then this is all what came up, what we're clearing. So then the energy goes to it again, and guess what? It all fucking comes back. Because you're giving energy to everything again, and it stays in there and it circles around, and you're manifesting it back into your world and into your life or into your reality, whatever term you want to use for whatever practice you're doing. And I'm not saying, okay, just do what you're doing now and then just don't talk about it with the clients, because what I found is even when I did that, I still would have the loops going on. Maybe they were a little softer. So it's not about like making the imprint a little bit finer as we're going the journey. It's not about that at all. It's about finding out what created the start of the freaking imprint in the first place, and what is feeding into that to control that creation of that before all of the other swirly whirly stuff that happened, that we then start to work our way around and work our way through. So I really wanted this to come out and come across in the most heartfelt possible way, because I want to help you to open your mind that there is a possibility, just a snippet of, like, ask yourself, what if it's actually possible to do all of what I'm able to do on steroids, so to speak? What if it's actually possible to be able to help more people? And then if you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, like if I do that, then I'm going to lose clients. Well, there's clearly a scarcity block going on there that we need to look at as well. And what if like everybody starts doing this area, or what if everybody starts doing this throughout the whole of Western Australia or the whole of Australia? Like, again, there's clearly a scarcity process or block that we've got going on here that needs to be cleared as well. If you look at it like just where I live here right now, there are 3 or 4 martial art facilities that are open, but they're pretty much next door to each other. There are, I think, in the space of a 3-minute drive, about 6 different gyms. So where, like, they're opening up. Where's the scarcity mentality? Surely, like even in the UK, people in the martial art industry would go nuts if a martial arts school opened up just down the road for them, because their thoughts on scarcity. And if you channel your thoughts to that, then your energy is already there, and then your thoughts go there too, and then that just becomes like your world. Like you're going to have then no abundance at all. None of it's going to be flowing towards you, and the scarcity is there. So let's push that to the side. We don't need that. That's not anything that is going to serve us in any way, shape or form. But just open up that door to empty the cup and come in with an idea of the what if. The results are proving that what I am doing right now is actually helping people quicker to have the permanent results. And if you're open to the idea of the possibility of learning that, I'm doing something on Tuesday at 11 a.m, a masterclass at 11 a.m. on Tuesday morning, Western Australian time, or AWST, where I will answer the questions, like a 60 to 90 minute call, where I'll be going through more about kind of what I do, the fundamentals of what this modality is, and what other people have been using, get phenomenal results, and how they use that as the fundamental grounding as such, the foundations, this is what I was looking for, to the next step of what you can go on to learn how to do. If that's of interest, sling a DM in the message or in the comments below. Sling a me in the comments below, or DM me, reach out, like it. I'll reach out to you as well if you want me to. And the worst case scenario is you come along, you lose 90 minutes of your life, and you go away thinking I'm full of shit. That's your worst case, right? The best case is you actually realize I could be on to something and I could know what I'm talking about a little bit, and it could be the fact that actually this could seriously help yourself and your clients and anyone else that you've got in your ecosystem or in your reality. This would massively help. I hope to, and I would love to see you there. I'll speak to you soon. Any questions, message me. Happy to help.